I'm making sure I got everything going all right. Hey, I'm pointing the wrong direction. There we go. That's better. We moved, buddy. It is Thursday, and today's a good day. Why? Because we're here talking to you. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff every single day that I show up for work. And that's not every day, because there's vacations, there's dental appointments. Shout out to my dentist, awesome guy. If he's listening, if he's not listening, he's not that great. But if you're watching, we're so glad that you joined us. It's my honor to be able to come out here and talk to you about stuff and things. And it would be really, really nice if our technology worked today. And we're up in the air on that. We don't know. If you come in via TikTok, please go and make some comments so I know that it's working. I need that kind of confirmation because it is a problem when it does not work. Let me see if I can go over and do a test myself. Let's see here. Stand by. Yeah, the live stream is there. Okay, testing. Did it work? I see my message. And it was working. Oh, thank you. And I think it was user error yesterday. I had capitalized traffic, the T in traffic and the S in service when I set up the link for the magic of TikTok to come over to Restream. So, now if you ask a question, boom, it'll show up on the screen, at least after I clickety-click the button. It'll make life a lot better for everybody. But the whole goal of this show is to answer your traffic and police questions. So if you've got questions, we've got answers. That's usually how it works. And sometimes we don't have answers. It happens. We'll do our best. If we can't find it, we'll look it up for you. We will start off by mentioning the most important things before we get into the hellos and good mornings, is that later on in the show today, we're going to be joined by Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. We'll be on the air in Toronto with, actually, it's not just Toronto, it's a big show everywhere, but everywhere that his listeners hear him. And of course, he'll be on our show, so you'll be able to hear him too. If you want to be on the show, if you want to call into their news station and talk to Control, Muster Control, 416-872-1010 to talk to them, or text your questions to 71010. Now, that is to be on at 10:35. That's when we'll connect with them. Now, if you want to be on the show asking questions with us, just ask questions everywhere but on Instagram, where it doesn't seem to want to work. Just realized I need to do something. Let's see here. Stand by. I gotta retweet the live stream from Twitter, because we still don't have Twitter verified for traffic services. I'm paying for it myself on the other channel. What's going on here? Traffic, come on. Just want to retweet myself. Yeah, everything's going slow. Don't know why. I'll just let it go. But if you happen to be watching us on traffic services, by all means, retweet the live stream. Oh, there we go. It finally showed up. Retweeting. I retweeted. I can turn that off now. What do we got here? Oh, a reminder first off, we talked about this, or sort of. I alluded to the fact that we're on a bunch of different platforms, or maybe that was yesterday. In any case, we're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and of course X, which used to be Twitter. And it's really been going well lately. More and more people coming to us by way of the Twit. And we appreciate you. If you've got questions on Twitter, it works. You can get in, you could click into the live stream. You can't do it from a comment onto the tweet. You have to enter the live stream player, and then you can ask your questions. And if you can't stick around, we get it. We're busy people. Everyone's got stuff to do. But if you want to catch up on the show, you can download it to your favorite podcasting platform. Apple Podcasts, you can use Spotify, iHeartRadio has a podcasting app. There's a bunch of other ones. We're on, I think, all of them. And if we're not on one, but you think we should be on one, send me a message. Let me know which platform we should be on. And I think that's it. I think we've covered it. Big thing about subscribing to the podcast, not only does it deliver in the background, so you always have it when you're on the road and you're looking for something to do, something to listen to, you can absolutely save money on data. Like live streaming in a car is expensive. Watching it on YouTube, if you don't pay for the subscription, is expensive. And of course, you don't want to be doing that while you're driving, because that would be distracted driving. We don't want to endorse or have anything to do with that. Akela Draconis with greetings and salutations. And as soon as I said that, I remembered that I did not mention the magical and very important Vision Zero enforcement team, who are out changing driver behavior right this moment. Yes, they are out there looking for those who engage in the big four. We're talking about folks who decide to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired. None of those things are acceptable, where it's all about safely operating your motor vehicle on the road. And not just motor vehicles, it's about safely operating your car, truck, skateboard, your kick scooter, which isn't allowed in the city of Toronto, by the way. You're not allowed. I mean, we're talking about safety, bicycle, everything, whatever you're doing to be on the road. It's important that you do it safely. So they're out there making a change, and we appreciate them. Now, let's get into stuff and things. We've got dad joke for later from Akela, 2 dad jokes. Oh, a Star Wars dad joke. That's going to be good. This is what we read at the end of the show. A reminder about the Harley draw. And you know what? I think I've neglected to did I do the lower third here? Harley draw. Where are you? Come on. I usually have a link. It's HarleyRaffle.ca, even though I can't seem to find. I got to put it back up there. I had one. It's gone. But yeah, we have a Harley raffle in support of the magical folks at Special Olympics Ontario. If you'd like to support, you can by going to, like I said, HarleyRaffle.ca. Let me put it up on screen for you. I have it. Here we go. Share. Put it on screen. There we go. The tickets are 1 for 20, 3 for 50, 8 for 100, which is what I think is a good way to go. 12 days, 23 hours, 52 minutes, and 33 seconds left until the draw is done. And you're entering to win a 2000, or the possibility of winning a 2023 Harley-Davidson Grand American Street Glide. I don't know what the Grand means. I'm out of the motorcycle game for a while now, and I no longer know all the makes and models. But it's purty, and I bet you it would be fun to ride. And if you don't have a motorcycle license, don't fret. You could always sell it and take the money. Brandon says, good morning, Sean and everyone. Let's all have a safe, fun, positive day. I love the positivity. Tien says, morning, everyone. Julie says, morning. Good morning, Sean and everyone out there. Richard says, good morning from Thunder Bay. He didn't even need to say Thunder Bay. I know he's in Thunder Bay. I was going to throw it in there, but he beat me to it. That came in before I did my testing. And Brandon makes a good point. The amount of bullying on the roads for doing the speed limit is outrageous. I couldn't agree with you more. It is disgusting how some people treat other people, whether it be, bullying on the school ground or on, I guess, the school ground for those that are, 16 and over, drivers. We treat each other really poorly on the road, I got to say. It's very disappointing. I drive the speed limit wherever I go. It's my thing. I'm the traffic safety guy, so I live it. I don't just speak it online. And I'm passed like I'm not even moving more often than not. It is incredibly frustrating to know that the majority of people on the road are not taking traffic safety seriously. Now, Brandon's got some cool cars, and they're possibly capable of going real, real fast. And watching people, knowing that you could do fast things, but doing the right thing is really important. And it's tough. Stay to the right, let people pass you. That's the thing. Don't treat people poorly. Be a good neighbor, and what's that? Treat people as treat others. What's that thing? You know what I'm talking about. Can you keep your ownership and insurance on your phone? In the province of Ontario, you can keep your insurance proof on your phone, and that's by way of a secure app. We're not talking about having a picture of your insurance. You have to have it in a secure app, and it must be presentable and sendable, available to send to police upon request. You can keep a photocopy of the original ownership document in the car or on your person. You don't have to keep the original. In fact, I suggest you keep your originals at home where they're safe. I don't even like having anything with my name on it in the vehicle. Think about this. They break into your car. They find out where you live. They come get your car later. It's a bad deal. Plus, People steal information as much as they steal stuff. So that's the answer. Insurance can be on your phone through an approved app. The ownership cannot be on your phone. All right, we got Evandro, our Brazilian fan, watching again. Good morning to you. Liz is watching, says good morning. Be kind to one another. Great username, says hello. We've got folks who are answering in the chat. Other people have questions, and it's so great that our community comes together to answer questions. Sometimes it takes a while for me to answer, and I ask that you be patient. Somebody was unhappy yesterday, and I understand the frustration. They had actually called in to express their unhappiness after being muted in the chat. So moderator muted that person for asking the same question many times. We ask that you don't spam the chat. And thanks to Akela Draconis, I have spam right here. It's for the stuff. I'm never going to eat this, but it is my prop for saying, please don't spam the chat. Spam should stay in the can. Zombie, good morning to you. Yeah, ask it once, we'll get to you. Ask it 10 times, we'll mute you. It's not personal. It's just we're trying to keep everything copacetic. Question from Evandro. Even with a G driving license, is it only permitted to have blood alcohol limits from the age of 22? Great question. Oddly enough, we had a meeting in this very office earlier, and the discussion was the wording. You know, we were discussing sidewalks and who gets the ticket when a 16-year-old doesn't wear a helmet. It wasn't sidewalks. It started off in sidewalks, got into helmets. So who gets the ticket when you're 16 for not wearing a helmet? It's a 16-year-old. And then we started talking about the wording. So it got into the blood alcohol content. So you must be 22 with a G-class license to have anything more than 0 BAC. So even if you have your full G, but you're 21, 0 alcohol in your blood. And drugs, for that matter, too. It's a 0 tolerance. You can't have nothing. 0 is the only thing you can have. And 0 is really the best thing to have, regardless of what the law says. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Hope that answers your question, Amandra. If you need more, let me know. Tiffy Henderson says, good morning. Curious to know why the law allows other cultures to be exempt from motorcycle helmet. Well, it's a religious exemption. And it allows members of the Sikh community to wear a turban because that's what's mandated by their faith. And that also means that if they're wearing a turban and are required to wear a helmet, they can't do both. So you're taking people out of a mode of transportation that is economical and fun. So Ontario followed 2 other provinces for making an exemption. And that's why it is. It's a religious exemption. You know, we're not going to ask people to change their faith to ride a motorcycle. And I think that's reasonable. I don't think it's safe. So don't misunderstand my acceptance and acknowledgement of someone's religious beliefs as saying it's safe. It's not safe, but it has become acceptable. And I think most people who get upset about it are really just not wanting to wear a helmet themselves. I don't know if that's your case or not. I, for one, do not like the idea of not wearing a helmet as a motorcycle rider. I took my helmet off in Ohio because I knew the law allowed it, and it was the weirdest feeling. I got one exit down the road until I pulled over and put it back on. Daniel says, hi, Sean, long time. How was your vacation? It was more of a staycation. Did make a trip to, I was back since Michigan, but I was in Pennsylvania for a little bit, and that was awesome. Thanks for asking. Johnny Nguyen says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. Adrian, I love this question. Adrian wants to know who is funding your platform. Is it our tax money? Other than the fact that I'm sitting here talking to you while being paid by the Toronto Police, it's not. There's no real major funds going into it. My time, which usually ends up being the hour I donate on my lunch every day because I generally don't take lunch, but I am being paid to be here, and the service does own the equipment that I'm using to transmit to you. And you know what? They own the police cars that police officers drive to community barbecues to go and talk about stuff and things in person. So yeah, it's tax money, and it's valuable service being provided to educate people about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff in general. So we're just going to keep on doing it if it's okay with you, Adrian. Let's see here. Belinda says, if I'm an Uber driver and passenger has no car seats for their kids, am I liable? Belinda, you are absolutely liable as the driver of a motor vehicle who has no exemption like a taxi cab or a bus driver would. You would be charged for driving with a child or infant or toddler, depending on their age, without having a proper secure function. Now, I believe that Uber says you cannot transport children that require car seats unless you have one, and even then, I don't think you're allowed to have them at all. But you definitely have to have a car seat, at least to avoid our charges, and they're pretty hefty. So don't do that. Tim Shallow, good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. He says, good morning, everyone. And Sean. Oh, Heartless says, my bike was stolen yesterday. The cops didn't do anything. So I don't know if your bike was a bicycle or your bike was a motorcycle. I also don't know what you want us to do, because we complete a report so you can take it to your insurance. We don't start a door-to-door investigation searching for the bike. We look for evidence. We look for clues, but generally speaking, that's not going to be something that we're going to be able to solve for you. We put police resources to things that we can solve. We try and find the people who hit other people and hurt other people. We try and find people who have robbed other people, assaulted other people. But we have to prioritize our police resources. So we can't put 10 people looking for your bicycle, generally speaking, if that's what you're talking about. We do make a report. We put our serial numbers down. If it becomes found, we can get it back to you. It's not that we don't do anything. We probably just didn't get a sufficient result for you. And I can appreciate that it's frustrating. Hopefully it turns up. Hopefully you registered it too, because not all bikes are registered. It does help us, find them and get them back to you when they're located. Trackers. A lot of people put hidden trackers on bicycles, assuming we're talking bicycle. Actually, people put trackers on all sorts of things nowadays. Apple things are awesome for getting stuff back, but it is a complicated process. Even when you know it is somewhere, it doesn't mean we can just walk by and get it. What is this? Oh, not a city question, but can I bike home after drinking small town rural setting? Interesting question. So, itchy nose. The deal is that if you're drunk, if you're putting yourself at risk because you're so under the influence of alcohol or drugs that you're a danger to yourself, you can be arrested for public intox, regardless of whether you're on a bicycle or walking. Is it against the law in Ontario to drive a bicycle impaired? No, impaired would be the public intox where you're all over the road. If you're driving safely and you're not so under the influence that you're impaired, you're not a danger to yourself or others, then there is no impaired driving on a bicycle. It wouldn't be a criminal charge. Again, could be public intox, probably wouldn't be if you just have small amounts. If you were in Florida, it's against the law to do that. So it depends where you are, but Ontario, it's in Canada for that matter, it's not. What else can I tell you about it? It would be illegal for you to ride an e-bike, an electric skateboard, a one wheel. Well, one wheel is prohibited for use on the road, but it's actually impaired driving if you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs to be using something that under the Criminal Code of Canada is determined to be a motor vehicle. And under the Criminal Code of Canada, anything other than muscular power is in fact a motor vehicle. So that could be criminally charged. And we've seen some pretty horrible situations caused by people who are riding electric vehicles while they're under the influence. People have died. It's horrible. We got a good bunch of people inside the room. If you would be so kind on TikTok to tap that screen till your fingers go numb, follow us if you don't already follow us. We do this all the time, talking about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, because we're here to help you. And we do this for at least an hour. I've been known to do this for much longer, but today is not that day, because although we have Jerry Agar at 10:35 coming in on the radio to join us for 10 minutes, I have a project that I'm working on that I have to get back to right after the show is done. So, but we'll be back tomorrow to do it all again. Let's see here. We got a reminder to please use the letter Q in front of your question so I know it's a question and not banter amongst yourselves. That's helpful. Let's see here. I have a 72-volt e-bike. What are the laws? Because a cop tried to chase me. 72 volt. I'm going to assume that's a high output e-bike. See, a 500 watt. We got to reboot that. A 500 watt motor is the maximum permitted. What's the make and model there of what you got there? Who's Vaughn? I'm going to do that while I'm just doing a quick reboot of the chat to get it working again, because our magical moderator said stuff's broken. It does that on occasion. Oh, come on. Oh, because I'm in the wrong platform. Hang on a second. Wrong thing. Chat. There we go. So if it's a high power, if it's capable of doing anything more than 32 kilometers an hour, and I mean capable, if it is something that is, either limited, but you can turn a switch and put off-road mode on, that is capable. And that means that it's illegal for the road. Oh, it goes 80 kilometers an hour? Oh, yeah. It is absolutely prohibited for the road. That is a motor vehicle. It's a motorcycle. So I would charge you for drive no license, drive no insurance, drive no license plate. I charge you for unsafe motor vehicle on the road. Absolutely not permitted on any road, sidewalk, or park path. And I'd arrest you for it if you were running. If you failed to stop, you'd be very arrested. So that's a private property only kind of vehicle, unfortunately. And I'm sure it was a very expensive toy, but it's not something that's legal for the road. But I appreciate you coming in and asking about it, because knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. All right, what do we got here? Hopefully that fixed. Let me know, moderator, if it came back. I did the little reboot, the little CPR on the chat. Hopefully it's working now. What is this? I am 15. What happens if I get caught riding my 150cc dirt bike on the road? When happens if I get caught running from the cops? Well, sort of the same thing as the 80 kilometer an hour electric motorcycle, because you're riding a motor vehicle that cannot be ridden on the road. You are 15, but you can still get arrested and charged, and your parents get notified because you're a minor. And then your vehicle gets impounded, and it's all sorts of fun stuff. And confirmation that the moderator says is working again. That's awesome. So yeah, it's you cannot drive it on the road. Now, some rural communities, maybe the police don't care, but it's not legal anywhere in Ontario. And ATVs, if you're 16 with a license, you can do some things. You can cross roads. You can drive on certain roads in certain communities. Toronto's not one of them. But you need to know what's acceptable in your neighborhood. And I can tell you, legally, dirt bikes aren't acceptable anywhere. Let's see here. We got that. We got this. Can I honk and flash my light at drivers that camp in the left lane of the highway when they won't move? What's camping? What speed are they camping at? See, the speed limit is a speed limit on all lanes of the highway. And while there are laws that say slower moving traffic should stay right, it's really intended to be slower moving than the speed limit. So 100 should be the maximum, or 110 in some cases should be the maximum on any lane. Well, we see obviously that people are doing 150 in some cases. So should slower moving traffic, even if slower moving traffic is doing the maximum legal speed, stay to the right? Yeah, they should. And the reason is not because I like speeders or accept speeding, but because the dum-dums that are speeding are putting lives at risk by passing on the right. They're maneuvering around. And now I'm not saying that you are speeding, and I'm not trying to upset you, but yeah, they should not be in that left lane. They should stay to the right. That is what should happen, but very often doesn't. Can you high beam them? It's an improper use of your high beams. Can you honk them? It wouldn't be improper to give them a note, but at 100 plus kilometers an hour, they won't hear you, really. Not unless you're right behind them. Then you're following too close and other issues. Even a police siren can't be heard at 100 kilometers an hour unless you're within about a car length behind them. So, yeah, what you're better off doing, quite frankly, is to safely and calmly move past them. But you shouldn't be speeding. So, moving on. We got, can you drive on the highway with a G2 license? So this is really good stuff to suggest you review the driver's handbook, because a G2 license allows you to drive anywhere with certain restrictions. You have the restriction between midnight and 5 a.m. with the number of passengers under the age of 20 that you can have in your vehicle, other than the exemption for anyone who's immediate family. You have to have zero blood alcohol content, but that's really the only restriction. Of course, you could have no more passengers than you have available seats with seatbelts. But yeah, you can drive all over. You can drive into the States. You can drive anywhere you want, as long as it's legal access to the property. All right. We got, yes, a reminder to Heartless who had their bike stolen. We hear you. Please stop spamming the chat. We've already talked about it. If you left and came back, you missed it. You can go out to YouTube and listen to it again. 10 minutes away from Jerry Agar joining the show, where we'll talk to him and his audience. If you want to be part of that audience, you can do that. You can call in, and they'll put you on the air. We can have a little chat live. If you want to text your question, you can do that, but you're doing it already. So whatever works for you. But just know you have options, 416-872-1010 or 71010 if you're texting. All right. Let me fix this, put it back where it was, and we'll keep going with questions for another 10 minutes until they join in. Okay. Is there a fine for passing on a solid line and more than the two vehicles? So it's funny. One, you can cross a solid line. There's no offense for that. But if you're doing that unsafely, if you cause any issues, you could be charged for a number of things. It's generally going to be based on where it is, because you could be passing illegally in a area where there's no view, like a crest of grade, where there's no view, or a curve where there's no view. It's just dangerous, and that's prohibited passing regardless of whether or not it's got nothing to do with the lines. The lines are a warning. But there's generally no offense for crossing the line. The offense is for being in the wrong side of the road, or being in the act of passing when you shouldn't, because it's unsafe. Obviously, if you cause a collision, you're going to be responsible for that. Now, the passing two vehicles or more than the two vehicles, there is some legislation. I remember getting into a big discussion with the sergeant and the training sergeant at the time about it, and I cannot remember what the answer is. I can't remember it. So one is an obvious okay. Two might cause an issue, but I don't remember the outcome, so I don't want to give you bad info. If you want to double down or follow up, just go online, TrafficCop.ca. You can go and send me a message. It'll give me your email address so I can follow up with you later. And where is that? It's here. TrafficCop.ca is my link tree. It has access to all my social media and LinkedIn, but it also has useful links for you to look stuff up if you're so inclined. All right. Boom. I don't know who's answering this question. Let's see here. Are all police services in Ontario mandated to wear body cameras? I don't think they're mandated. I think that we're all moving in that direction. And I could be wrong. I don't wear it. I'm not on the road anymore. I don't wear a body cam, never have. And I don't remember if it was a mandate, because obviously maybe they're given a certain time to get body cameras, but not all police services have them. So I'm going to guesstimate that they're not mandated, simply because not everybody has them yet. Camber is illegal, I know, but what is the law about lowering a car or truck? So camber is illegal at a certain point. Minor camber isn't an issue, but over a certain number of degrees, you're reducing the contact patch of your tire so much so that you're making it unsafe and you're riding on the sidewall of the tire, which is going to cause a blowout. In terms of lowering, it's the police are concerned, and when we do inspections at the side of the road, are looking for contact with body and tire, or frame and tire, or any components. So if your tire in a lock-to-lock turn makes contact with anything, your vehicle is instantly deemed unsafe. We're going to pull your license plates and get you off the road, and of course charge you appropriately. Now, there are other inspection guides. Like if you go online to TrafficCop.ca, for instance, you can go and see what the light truck and passenger vehicle inspection guide is, which is what mechanics essentially have to go by in order to check to see what's in and out. Like, you will not certify if you can't certify it, it's unsafe. And if it's too low, and there is a minimum and maximum distance from the center of your headlights to the ground, if you are within the legal, you're legal, and if you're not, you're out for that reason alone. So yeah, a couple of things to think about. And can you pass an ambulance on Highway 400? Is it an ambulance that has its lights and sirens on? Like what it's just a vehicle driving on the road? There's no law about prohibiting you from passing an emergency vehicle that isn't in emergency mode. I'd like to know more about your question. What's all this ding-donging stuff? I'm getting, there's the link tree. I see that you went through the TrafficCop.ca and sent a message. That's what that is. The bing bong. All right. What do we have here? How often are school bus stop violations common in Toronto? How often are school bus stop violations common in Toronto? I'm going to decode what you said to say how often do people violate and how often do we catch them. I don't know the stats on that, but I know that we have violators of all sizes and shapes doing all sorts of things. We have some really bad drivers in Ontario, not just in Toronto. And I see horrible things in and around school buses because people are generally not paying attention, which is pretty sad because kids deserve to be safe. And many, many drivers out there are making them unsafe in the worst areas and the worst times, which is boarding and unboarding and crossing streets and whatnot. So it's very common. We do write a lot of tickets for it. I don't have any stats in front of me though to give you specifics though. What do we got here? What is the penalty to tailgate another car on the highway? I believe it's $110 for follow too close. I think it's 3 demerit points. Of course, I can confirm that. Let's see here. Boom, ba-doo, doo, follow. It's follow too closely, I think. Follow too closely, $110, 4 demerit points. The driver of a motor vehicle or streetcar shall not follow another vehicle or streetcar more closely than is reasonable and prudent, having due regard for the speed of the vehicle and the traffic and on the conditions of the highway. There's a whole bunch of things to consider there. That's 158 sub 1 of the Highway Traffic Act. It's $85 as a set fine. Total payable after victim fine surcharge is $110. Yeah, I haven't looked at that in a long time. We got biggest issue is highway overspeeding at 401 South North Don Valley. We have people just doing bad stuff everywhere. Speeding everywhere is an issue, whether it be on the expressway or on surface roads. Let's see here on that. Mitch says, morning. How you doing, Mitch? What do we got here? Hi from BC or HBC. Yeah, what do we got here? What happens when I get caught fishing in a no fishing pond? I don't know. I'm assuming you get a ticket for fishing in a no fishing pond. I've never done anything with fishing stuff. I don't know. This is a traffic channel. Can't help you with the fishing stuff. I'm sure there's a cop somewhere who knows what the rule is there. Let's see here. How are people allowed to ship their cars from Europe to Canada and drive them? I don't know, but I know they can do it. I mean, people do it for exotic cars all the time. Assuming they're safe for the road and insured for the road, there's no issue with that. What is this? Greg Marshall has the answer for Cam, saying they have to go through a broker that certifies them. What is it? It just updated and scrolled away. 2 minutes away from a connection with our magical friends at News Talk 1010. Here's a good one. How much do you love the North Vancouver RCMP? I have no words for the love I have for the North Vancouver RCMP. It goes without saying that we love all police. How's it going? So glad you could pop into the live stream. Let's see here. We've got, and they're coming in from Facebook, no less. Why doesn't my car go faster than 260? Probably forgot to put your blinker fluid in, and it probably unlocks when you're on a track. If someone's actually legitimately trying to go faster than 260, or even going faster than 100, you're not making good decisions. I mean, or you're 16 with somebody else's car, because that's something that we find a lot of young people doing, is trying to figure out how to make the needle go all the way down. I think there's a link issue. Okay, stand by. We've got a problem with the link. Stand by. We're going to try something else. Got to open up mail. When radio can't get in. One sec. And just trying to fix stuff so we can connect. Send you another. Fixing stuff on the fly. See, the magic of TikTok is working today, but Other magic is working less good. All right, let's go here. Let me scroll back and see what I missed. Boop-a-doop-a-doo. On the system, Mitch, we talked about this. Okay. Where and when is it legal to pass a snowplow in the winter season? We're a little ahead of that one. But is it working now? Let's see what's going on. Sorry, I'm waiting for this. Okay, just waiting for it to come through. Cool. That's weird that it hasn't come through. One more sec. Want to make sure it works because kind of getting on the radio was important. Oh. What the heck is going on? Bye. We'll try this again. Try it again. All right. I may have sent it to somebody that I didn't mean to send it to, which is great. Now I sent it to the right person. Oh, wow. Fun stuff. All right. So snowplow, you can't pass two or more snowplows working in echelon, which is when they work in not tandem, but when they look like they're working off as part of half of a chevron or both sides of a chevron, and you can't pass them. You can't pass them if they're in any point of the lane. So if they've got a portion of the blade in the lane, you can't go there. But here's the deal. Why would you want to pass a snowplow? They're clearing the road to make it safer for you. Sorry, one second. I'm waiting for the text bubbles to populate into a sentence so I can know what's going on. The suspense. Oh, they're here.
How the judge acted to that. But first of all, let's spend some time learning about traffic with the TikTok traffic cop at Traffic Service.
And we lost him.
On TikTok, Sean Shapiro. Good morning.
I'm here. Are you there?
All right. We're good to go.
Excellent.
I saw a thing this morning that said the modern day Zoom conversation is like seances used to be. I said, we're trying to connect. Can we hear the person from the great beyond? That's how it feels sometimes. Sean, oftentimes when I say you're going to be on, John Moore from The Morning Show decides he has a question for you.
Always, yes.
And, here we go.
What's his first thought when he sees an illegally parked car with its flashers on? I knew a guy in Montreal who called them the come and get me lights.
Well, I'm not one to handle parking tickets, but it is one of those things that is always it makes me question the meaning of life. Why does that light? Why do people do silly things? It's the I'm so important that I'm going to put my car here on display, draw all of the attention to say I'm just going in to get something because I'm more important than you.
Yeah, just because you put your lights on doesn't mean you all of a sudden get to take over a traffic lane or a bike lane or a don't park here during rush hour or whatever the situation is.
There are no special privileges by hazard lights, and I've got to say that hazard lights are generally misunderstood, misused on a regular basis. People put them on when the snow falls, when the rain falls, when it gets dark out. Use your hazard lights when you are a physical hazard, not moving, and that's it.
All right. We seem to be having some major technical issues here. Kevin, go ahead.
At night, when people are putting on their first set of lights, they have their parking lights to the front, they have their dashboard lit up, so they think they're good to go. But there's nothing showing at the back. There's no lights on at the back. I think it's a design flaw in the production of automobiles. There's been a lot of crashes where cars are just smashing into cars that they don't even see because there's no lights on at the back. And when the drivers of the other cars, so I'm wondering if the question for Ontario concerned about this.
So this is what we call a ghost car. This is when someone gets into the car and doesn't realize that just because their dashboard's lit up and their daytime running lights are on, that they haven't turned on their full headlighting system. It's a major problem, and it does run into issues where speeders run into the car in front of them because they didn't see them. But that's also because the car driving from behind needs to be driving appropriately so they can, have time for their headlights to illuminate what's in front of them. But it is an issue. They've been charged a $110 fine. Are we having some issues? What the
I heard.
the big thing here is that the can you hear me, Jerry? Are we working?
Yeah, apparently we're having a real problem here, especially connecting our phone calls with you. And I don't know, you and I might have to carry on. But why don't I'm sorry for you listening that this has turned into such an audio disaster. But why don't you start over again and answer his question?
So the deal is this. We call them ghost cars. It's because someone's gotten into their car and they haven't turned on their full headlighting system. It's the lights that are illuminating the road in front of them are their daytime running lights. They have no lights on at the back at all, and their dashboard is on. And I believe in the new modern cars coming out, the dashboard lights are going to be tied to their full headlighting system, not to give a false sense of security. But yeah, ultimately it is a problem. But what is also a problem is people who aren't paying attention to what's coming up because they're driving too quickly. You're still responsible. You shouldn't be driving into a car in front of you just because their lights are off. You should be paying attention.
All right. Well, somebody just wrote in, hazard lights are a cloaking device. Don't you guys know anything?
I missed the memo on that, but I don't think they're working the way they were designed then.
No, that's right. I'm afraid to take a call here for our all various connections are not working very well. So Conrad from Etobicoke wants to know, how do red light cameras work?
Apparently very well. They basically take a picture, a series of photos after you enter an intersection when you were supposed to have stopped. And if it's turned red and then you enter the intersection, it snaps a bunch of pictures, which are then reviewed by people who work for the city, and a ticket is issued. But yeah, they're pretty simple. There's a system in the road that determines approach speed and then lines it all up so they can catch you in the act of failing to stop for a red light.
Do you get a lot of people who try and insist that the camera was wrong?
I'm sure the courts do. I think with photographic evidence and the fact that these things are doing exactly what they're designed to do, I don't think they get out of many of those tickets. I don't know if it's a bonus, but there are no points associated with it. And if you happen to get one of these, it's very likely that you did something wrong. One thing that I do see, and I've heard stories of people getting multiple tickets in a single day, even at the same intersection, when they're driving around making right turns on reds, it seems that people have forgotten that a right turn on red still requires you to come to a complete stop before proceeding.
All right. Now, somebody just wrote in terms of the question that had to do with lights at night, and I wonder if you would agree with this as an officer. No car lights on at night screams DUI driver.
100%. I have stopped so many vehicles and investigated them, resulting in arrests for impaired operation. In fact, one of them was a man who gave me his brother's driver's license. He had never actually been licensed himself, and he was shocked to find out that his brother was also under suspension, but he was charged with impaired operation.
That's why his brother gave him the license, because it wasn't any good to him anymore. Here, you take it. This comes up all the time, and maybe we can close out with this, Sean. But somebody's asking, because there's so much of it going on in the summer, when is lane splitting on a motorcycle legal?
Never, actually. Lane splitting doesn't have its own section into the Highway Traffic Act, but the behavior of driving between stopped or slow-moving vehicles with another vehicle is either going to be careless driving, stunt driving, or even criminal dangerous driving, depending on the situation. We've had situations where people lane splitting have hit pedestrians crossing in between traffic. We've had situations where cars driven by people who aren't paying attention zig and zag and ended up, having people on motorcycles with limbs missing afterwards. It's not a safe practice. And even in places like in California where it's legal, the California Highway Patrol openly says on their website it's dangerous and must be done at very low speed. But it's never legal here.
Motorcycle deaths up 50% this year. The OPP was reporting, I talked about it yesterday, and told motorcycle riders to get it together. By the way, I took your advice and I've signed up for a motorcycle advanced course taught by motorcycle cops next month.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to your review of how that went, because it's a very
right.
different experience when you take our tactics and place them into motorcycle operations.
Yeah, I'm going to wear a suit of armor so I don't get hurt.
Phenomenal.
Thanks a lot. Sean
Poison.
Shapiro is the TikTok Traffic Cop. This is the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
I don't know what was going on with the technology. Usually we have a pretty stable connection, so I don't know if that was the cellular links that they were using or if it was I don't know. I'm just glad that we got to chat with Jerry. It's always fun to connect. That was Jerry Agar on News Talk 1010. He does a show for a couple hours a day. We jump in with him on a regular basis, and he, of course, calls me the TikTok Traffic Cop, and it's sort of stuck. Yeah, it's not a bad nickname. It's but I'm so much more than TikTok. Just has our biggest audience. We are over 670,000 followers on TikTok. On traffic services, we only have 24,000 on Twitter. Just over, I think, 11,000 now on Instagram. It's not a competition. It's just interesting to see how different platforms deal with their content, and we're on that trajectory to 1 million followers on TikTok, which is, I think, absolutely awesome. I love it. All right, back to your stuff. Let's see what's going on in our questions. What is this? What are we scanning? I'm scanning through questions. I got pin 23. I'm going to ignore my scanning and jump into stuff that the moderator has deemed ready for a answer. Can all only experienced or no drivers use cell phones on hands-free? In Ontario, and this is from Pete, who is coming in from Facebook, in Ontario, any driver can use a cell phone that is either using a headset, wireless or wired, or a speakerphone when it's mounted. The deal is that I know some provinces don't allow you to use a cell phone at all because it actually acknowledges the fact that there is a distraction. Hands-free or not, you are distracted by being on the phone. And someone who's learning to drive has no business catching up with a phone call or worrying about their plans of what they're going to do when they get somewhere else. You need to be focused on learning to drive. And the distraction of a speakerphone call to someone is not helping you. So I understand why some provinces actually restrict the use of hands-free or any kind of connection. But in Ontario, there is no restriction as long as it is not being used in your hands. It's mounted, and you're not looking at it for anything other than a GPS. Great question. Thanks for contributing, Pete. Let's see here. We've got Herbert, who wants to know if someone can be charged for impaired driving on an electric scooter, even if he has no driver's license. Yeah, absolutely they can. In fact, the only electric vehicle that is not considered a vehicle at all is a wheelchair. If you are someone who is using an electric wheelchair for transportation for getting about, well, you are a pedestrian under the law. And if you're using a mobility scooter, you're eligible for impaired driving charges. So that's something interesting, isn't it? What do we got here? I drive an F-150, I'm assuming not an F-50, used for construction work, tools in. Do I need a yellow sticker safety inspection? Not because you have tools. It's based on the weight of the vehicle. It depends, the rated weight is my understanding of how that works. I'm not the right guy for commercial motor vehicle questions because I'm not a commercial motor vehicle inspector, but it's based on whether you're in or out. So I had an F-150. I've never had a yellow sticker on my truck, and I don't tow over the rated value. So it's about its thing. A tow truck, for instance, that regardless of whether it's being used as one or not, is always a commercial motor vehicle requiring one of those. So they don't call it a device now. They've changed the word. There we go. We got RXTYZZ is lane splitting illegal. We talked about that with Jerry, so I'm not going to get into it again. We talked about that already. Are lifted trucks legal in Ontario if it was installed professionally? There's a maximum ride height. I think if you raise it more than 3 inches, they won't certify. Making it not legal, which is interesting because we don't go after them in the way that we possibly could. But maybe we should. Yeah, at a certain height, it's not safe. In fact, there's a huge argument for not allowing large trucks in general. Like SUVs don't make very good impact spots with pedestrians. Lower sedans, pedestrians can fall over the hood if they're struck. We don't want you to strike pedestrians, but in the event of a collision, pedestrian will go over the hood. Lower limb damage versus creating a not good outcome. Whereas trucks, they don't have anywhere to go and tend to go under, and it's bad. So many people, when you raise that, you just increase the injury potential for pedestrians, if you even see them. Is there a fine for passing on a solid line? Depends on where you are. It's potential, but not just for the solid line in Ontario is not against the law. Just crossing the solid line is not an offense. So you can, in fact, pass. But there's other things to think of. If it's dangerous move, it's unsafe practice, if it's on a curve where there's no visibility, it's all about what you're doing, not the line. So depends. What's the process to become a cop in Ontario? Well, it's funny that you should ask that, because we discuss this sort of stuff on a regular basis, and I happen to have a careers webpage that I can open up and show you. So we talk about Ontario or Toronto in particular, but the process is pretty much the same, and I would suggest you go and visit www.tps.ca/careers to get to this particular webpage where you get all that information. Click on the police constable button, and you can get all the details of what the process looks like, what's required of you. And then if you're interested, you could get more information with a recruiter. You can even hit that apply now button and start the process. I do want to have a quick look at civilian roles, see if they've posted anything new. There were 3 roles yesterday, and there are 3 roles today. They're looking for a custodian, an intermediate technical analyst, and communication operator. If you know somebody who might be interested in a job with an incredible organization, then send them there. Send them to our website, because we'd like to help them, start their career. All right, back into stuff and things. If what is this? If a driver almost hits me while I'm in the bike lane, is the car at fault? I don't know enough to specifically tell you yes or no, because it's very, very possible that it is their fault, and it is unlikely that it's your fault if you're in the bike lane doing everything right and they're not in the bike lane because they're a car. But I don't know at what point they're intersecting. If they cross over the line and weave into you, or they don't give you the meter rule, they have to give you a meter anyway, even if there's no bike lane. So I need to know more, but it sounds pretty bad for the driver. May I ask what kind of dirt bike is legal on the road? Thank you. If you're talking about a gas-powered motorcycle dirt bike, none of them, unless it's a dual purpose, one that is purpose-built and sold at a dealership for on-road and off-road. It has the lights, it has the signals, it has all the accoutrements to be permitted on the road. It's a thing. So if it's a dual sport, dual purpose motorcycle that can be licensed for the road, that's a road bike. If it's an off-road only, it's an off-road only. Yeah. I don't know what other way to present that information. Okay. Is there a height limit on bicycles? I got a 2-story bike. Interesting question. It is. I'm not aware of any rules on heights on bikes. I think tall bikes could be possibly silly though, and possibly very dangerous. I've seen some of these bikes being built on YouTube and ridden around, and they look, even that one wheel, which I can't. The penny. What was it called? A penny farthing. I learned that from the good sergeant. Penny farthing. They look ridiculous, and I think that anyone who rides one is taking their life in their own hands. We have BK-Sav. I don't know how to pronounce this. I'm just going to move along. How long does stunt driving last on record? Stunt driving charges, the conviction will show up for 3 years. The suspensions and the history are really there forever. But your insurance company, that was, they keep files, and they can keep those files forever. It's the access to information. Like if you were to go to a new insurance company 4 years later, the new insurance company wouldn't know that you had it after 3 years, but your old insurance company would. And if you're convicted, you're going to have a driving prohibition of 1 to 3 years on your first conviction. So that lack of licensing history is going to be a hint as well. All right. Can you give more details, fine, about HOV lane? I see so many drivers. Oh, I see so many driver-only cars nowadays. A lot of people who are risking it all to save 5 seconds or use the VIP lane, as so many refer to it as. It's an offense to be there if you don't qualify. If you're in an electric vehicle that has a green plate, you qualify to be there. If you are in a hydrogen-powered vehicle, if you're in a plug-in hybrid, you are eligible to get a green plate and be there. If you're a motorcycle rider, you're eligible to be there, regardless of how your fuel source is. But yeah, it's 150 or 180. Regardless, it's against the law. But how often are people out there doing inspections? How often are police doing enforcement on that? I couldn't tell you. It's OPP territory for the HOV lanes. What do we have? Do you need to turn signal in a roundabout? Do you need to use a turn signal in a roundabout? You need to exit or signal your exit of a roundabout in Ontario. I can't speak to the entire planet, but you don't need to signal into a roundabout because that's just going with the road. Road empties in. There's no reason to signal in, but you signal out, which I don't ever see anybody do but me. I'm like the only person doing it right. I'm just high on myself right now. I'm the righteous, circle-y person. What is this? Talked about that already. Chris, I'm sorry to hear that your parent died. They left the car to you, and you have to transfer. Sorry, do I have to transfer the ownership, or can I drive it? So, if you are the what's the terminology? It's the word escaping me at the moment. But you're running the estate. You're controlling the estate. I can't think of what the term is. Beneficiary. No, it's not beneficiary. Different one. But that moderator had a good guess. It's who controls you have to have it, the will and everything taken care of. In that time that the estate is still active, you can continue to drive the vehicle until such time as you can distribute the items to their appropriate places. If you're the sole beneficiary, then it's going to go to you, but you will eventually have to transfer it into your name. You can't just keep driving it. I just can't think of what the name is. So I'm going to Google it because that's what Google's for. Will select. I can't believe I can't remember this. No, not trustee. Okay. No. Come on. Somebody in the chat, tell me what it is. It's going to be something simple, too. Executor. Thank you to Keith, Retod, Cooper. Power of attorney was closed, but Dominicano, thank you very much. I appreciate you. And to the moderator who also sent it eventually. Oh, sometimes the words. Okay, so yeah, as the executor and in controlling the estate at the time, you can continue to drive it as long as it's licensed and insured. And at some point, it has to be distributed to someone and transferred. Okay. What is the difference between a highway and a freeway with regards to our Highway Traffic Act? Liz, I appreciate these questions. Okay. Truly, a highway is any road in the province of Ontario. There's no such thing as a freeway under the law. The highway is divided into highway and controlled access highway. So the controlled access highway is one like the 401, which has regulations or stipulations as to who can enter it. For instance, you can't have a vehicle with less than 50 cc's entering, at least that used to be the rule. You need to have a vehicle capable of attaining a certain speed. And yeah, controlled access highway. So there's no difference, though, in terms of the enforcement of laws. Zombie 7. If you see someone driving in an unsafe way, should you call the non-emergency line to report them? Well, it depends on how unsafe it is. Is it an emergency if someone's all over the road and you think they're impaired? I think so. If there is immediate risk to life, that's a 911 call, in my opinion, rather than non-emergency. If it's something that you're just being not nice people or generally risk-taking, you want to report them, we have, if it's in the city of Toronto, you can use an online form at tps.ca where you can report either behavior in a community or an area, a intersection, an area, Or if you have a specific license plate, you can say, I saw this person driving on their phone, weaving all over the place. You can make those reports as well. Now, we don't generally or can't generally lay charges for those, but we make a nice letter. We send it to the registered owner and say, hey, on Thursday at 7 p.m., we saw reports of a young person driving your car or an old person driving your car doing X, Y, and Z. Just so you know, it's being reported to police, a file is being created, and you should probably change your behavior. That way, if it's a parent or person who owns the car, a company vehicle, for instance, we get the follow-up. They get to find out that whomever they're lending their car to was doing silly things with it. Also, if they were the ones who were doing silly things, it really helps us when we pull them over again, and then we have on file that they were doing silly things, and we say, hey, you've done this before. No warning for you. Okay, if I have my motorcycle license in New Brunswick but living in Ontario temporarily, can I ride? If you've moved here, and temporary is a really funny thing. If you've moved here, you're obligated within 60 days to change your driver's license. You take it to the ministry, you'll get a motorcycle license here, and you're good to go. If you're visiting here, not temporarily moving here, but visiting, that's very different. Then you can. You're a temporary. You're a visitor. But again, you've taken up residence, you've rented a place, you're living, working, schooling, whatever. You're a resident of Ontario. Motor vehicles need to be transferred within 30 days. Driver's licenses need to be changed within 60. We're at 11 o'clock, which means I got to wrap it up, but I've got a bunch of stuff that's tagged. I'm only going to look at the stuff that our magical moderator has put in front of me just because of time constraints. Let's see here. What happens in a minor car crash and the other person doesn't have their driver's license on them? That would be a situation where the police need to be notified. If you've been in a collision and the other person can't provide the information they need to legally, you call the police. And they can it doesn't mean that they're going to get charged. If it's under $2,000, it's an unreportable, but they would need to verify that the driver is in fact licensed, insured, and so on. There is an obligation of all drivers involved, all drivers and witnesses, to exchange information. Okay, so there you go. Great question from Tim. How old does a child have to be to ride on the back of a motorcycle? They tried to make it age. It didn't go through. The rules are that the passenger must be able to put their feet squarely on the pegs. And they have to obviously wear an appropriate helmet. And I would add, although not a legal requirement, you have to be confident that they're safe to stay on, because the worst thing in the world would be for them to not be mature enough to hang on safely and they could fall off or panic or whatnot. So legally, feet on the pegs, helmet appropriately sized and worn properly. And that's it. But it's I've even seen kits that raise the pegs, and that's legal too. You're just, as long as it's pegs. I wouldn't be taking, a phone book to elastiband to the peg. You've got to do it safely, but that's the only requirement. What are the rules around ride-alongs? Good question. I have not seen many people doing it. I don't know what the qualifications would be. You'd have to talk to the officer in charge of a station or talk to a recruiter. There's got to be a reason for a ride-along. They don't just say, hey, come on in. Tuesday is Bob down the street and Cindy on the weekend. We don't generally do random ride-alongs. It's usually journalists or persons looking at a career in law enforcement. Let's see here. What are the rules around car meets in Ontario? Are groups allowed to gather in public parking lots? In York Region, they've got, if you go to Tim Hortons and 5 of your friends go and have coffee there, it's not an issue. If you're having, 400 people show up in a parking lot and there's illegal activity going on, that's a different thing. And this is bylaw specific. It's not an Ontario law. Obviously, if there's driving, stunt driving, and silliness going on, that's criminal in some cases, definitely stunt driving in most, or when it's not criminal. It's based on the driving and the behavior. But York Regional, let me see if I can find this quickly. York Region car meet law. Okay. Anyone spectating, attending, riding as a passenger, or having their vehicle at an unauthorized car rally can be fined up to $10,000 or may receive an administrative penalty of $500. So what is a car rally according to their definition? Unauthorized car rallies are disruptive to citizens' quality of life and pose significant risk to the community. These events often come with excessive noise, speeding, stunt driving. So I want to know what the definition is. In fact, this might be a really good question to discuss with York Regional Police. What is an unauthorized car rally? They have it under the FAQ. Car rallies without a special events permit are not allowed in Vaughan. These car rallies typically involve people gathering with their modified vehicles. Those who attend these events often perform stunts and take over private property, such as parking lots or roads. That's very vague. So I would say in New York, I wouldn't do that. Or contact local police. I suppose this is where they're advertising big events and hundreds of people are coming. If 4 people went with their modified cars and they were legally modified, and you went to Tim Hortons and you all looked at each other's cars, I don't know if that would qualify, but I would contact York Regional Police to know what their interpretation of the laws that they're enforcing are. Let's see here. Can I U-turn on a red light? No. You can't enter an intersection on a red light. So, no. North Vancouver RCMP respond. We were talking about our love affair of the RCMP a while ago. They said, P.S. We're a huge fan of your content. How does one make a guest appearance on your show? Reach out to me, North Vancouver RCMP. We'd love to have you on the show. I will try and contact you, but there's a link, TrafficCop.ca. We'll make it happen. Okay. Miral says, what is this? What cameras do police cars have all around? Are they able to see the driver or just the license? Oh, so it depends on the police service. I don't know what equipment goes into every one of them. We have Axon-based systems. We have in-car camera to look at the rear seat as well as out the front. When we have passengers in our vehicles, someone who's in custody or even just getting a ride, we activate our in-car camera system to protect us. And we also have body cameras on our officers. But I don't know what brands everybody else are using. Oh, great question. What's the consequence for a driver driving a child or children without a car seat or booster seat? Well, I can give you the details on that. Let's see here. Drive while child passenger not properly secured, not in the right seat. What they have there is a charge under the HTA 106 sub 4 sub B. It is a $240 charge with 2 demerit points to the driver. No person shall drive on a highway or a motor vehicle in which there is a passenger who is under 16 years old, unless that passenger occupies a seating position for which the seatbelt assembly has been provided and is wearing a complete seatbelt system or assembly, and that passenger is required by regulations to be, if that child passenger is required by regulations to be secured in a child seating system and is so secured. I did not read that very well. Hang on. It's all wordy and subby. Let's see here. So the way it works for toddler or thing, they have different wording. The driver of a motor vehicle on a highway is required to ensure that a toddler passenger is secured as set out in subsection 6 or 7.1. So these regulations all have lots of looky-uppy stuff. But I'm a child safety restraint technician. It's fun stuff. And the big thing is that it's a big problem where people either transport children that aren't secured at all, aren't secured appropriately with seats that are appropriately affixed into the vehicle. You need to have the right seat for the right child. And very often we get these questions from folks who drive Uber and are looking for a way to take passengers without liability. Because when they have liability, or they have liability if it's done wrong, they're the driver. They take on all the responsibility. Okay, got to wrap it up. So here is dad jokes from Michaela Draconis. We've got dad joke 1. Did you know there's no official training for garbage collectors? Yeah, they just pick it up as they go. It's good. I like that. I mean, it wasn't a laugh out loud, but it's good. I will tell that joke again. I accept that joke. What do you call a caveman who is wandering around slowly? A Neanderthal. Even get Chewy to respond to that one. What do you call... Oh, here we go. What do you call Admiral Akbar wearing a tuxedo? Sophisticated. It's good. Star Wars one I like. Now, of course, we don't have Peter listening today, but I'll go ask him what he thinks. He's in a meeting. There's a quote, and the quote from Michaela is, every time you smile at someone, it's an action of love, a gift to that person, a beautiful thing. That's Mother Teresa quote. I like that quote. That's a good thing. Makes me want to smile. It's not a very natural smile. Listen, it's been a blast. I appreciate you guys spending time here. We'll be back tomorrow, so join us at 10 a.m. We will do this all again. My name is Sean Shapiro, and I approve of this message. All right. As I say that, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Okay. I'm going to play for you what I've been playing on the outs of every video. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to play something entirely different. I'm going to play for you the episode of the traffic jam where I talked to Aaron about the military Veterans Wellness Program. It's really important. It's really become near and dear to my heart. So much more after getting to know Aaron and all the things and the trip to Pennsylvania, which was really based on this program. So I think it's great. I hope you enjoy it. It runs for 24 minutes. You're welcome to watch the whole thing. I'll be in the chat for a bit, but I'm working on other stuff in the background. So have a great day. See you tomorrow.
So leaving the military was very hard for me because I was in CSOR, the Canadian Special Operations Regiment, and I was an operator. And my whole platoon was going to Iraq, and I was coming to Toronto Police. And so I felt like a lot of disconnect from not doing that. And I started, and it took me a while to find my passion and what was going to motivate me, like being an operator did. And I feel like this program's actually helped save my life because it gave me like a perfect platform to give back and to really like get into and dive headfirst into. So I think this program's helped me a lot, to be quite honest with you.
Welcome to another episode of TPS Traffic Jam. I'm Sean Shapiro, but you knew that already. Joining me in studio is Aaron Dale, police constable with the Toronto Police Service. And you're more than that because you have quite a history and you've created something pretty amazing. Tell everybody about it.
Yeah, so hey, everybody. Sean, thanks for bringing me on the show.
Pleasure.
I've been watching it for a while, and I'm trying to get some tips and tricks to apply to what I do every day. But yeah, I designed the Military Veterans Wellness Program with another police constable, Jeremy Burns. We were both military veterans that started with policing in 2018. And we came to policing brand new. I left the Army pretty much a couple days before I started with Toronto Police. We went on our training, and Burns helped me with my transition because it was a little challenging for me, and he had transitioned from the military a few years earlier. We both got badged, passed our police school in late 2018, and then in early 2019, the both of us started recognizing military veterans that were essentially suicidal or homeless in Toronto, and we just started building this program so police could better interact with suicidal homeless veterans or veterans that were in crisis.
And that's a big deal. I don't think people really understand, that you see a lot, you do a lot when you're deployed. And I'm not military. I've been with the police service for 24 years, but everything that I've come to learn, whether it be through movies and training, like there's a lot going on. You carry a lot, and police also carry things differently from their experiences. But it's amazing that you've been able to create what you've created, which is a way of helping people. That is a first in Canada.
Yeah, so we kind of recognized a gap in service delivery. So when I left Special Operations in 2018, I had some personal challenges and I needed help. So through peer support and through Jeremy kind of pushing me into therapy and stuff, I went and got a lot of help from Veterans Affairs Canada, the Royal Canadian Legion, and OSIS, the Operational Stress Injury Social Support Program. So I got help from all these three agencies, and it made me kind of who I am today and a better police officer and helped my personal life out. But then when we got on the streets, we started recognizing military veterans that weren't connected to these services. And it's kind of hard to ask for help when you're suffering, and it's hard to sometimes there's a lot of stigmas around you think other people deserve the help more so than you do. But there's also a lack of cultural competency among policing across Canada. So what we were able to do is we were able to work our way through the entire policing chain of command to get approvals to create this and build this to what it is today. But essentially what it is today is a 1-hour training program. so that any police officer in Canada can actually take it on our Canadian Police Knowledge Network for free, because Toronto Police waived all the fees. And that training package, which took us a year to build, we got a lot of help from a lot of different people. So it's essentially a nationally based community policing initiative where we brought the entire community together to help build a program. So the training is, what's life like in the military? What are your common struggles, and how difficult can it be to transition out of the military and into civilian life? How a veteran might end up in crisis, whether that be suicide or homelessness, and how police would be called to that crisis as a 911 call. Additional training on de-escalation, so that a police officer can actually more effectively de-escalate a veteran while they're in crisis. What is the social services at the national level that can help a veteran? So Veterans Affairs Canada, the Legion, and OSIS. And I honestly think those are the best 3 social services in the world for what they can offer a person. And then after that, it's how can a frontline police officer at the side of the road connect that suffering veteran to the federal support. So we built a referral form, and it's probably one of the first medically based referral forms in Canada that any police officer can essentially pull up the form in their police car, do a simple verbal consent for contact under person in crisis legislation. And that was kind of based a little bit off the Focus program with Detective Brian Smith and the rest of the team at the Community Partnerships and Engagement Unit. But as soon as they have that form, they click the submit by email button, and that form leaves the police car and goes right to the federal government. And then all 3 of those agencies call the veteran to offer all the support that they're entitled to. So right away, with that referral to the federal government, we're able to leverage the federal government to assist with a municipal matter, and we've replicated that across Canada. So far we're doing pretty well. We got about 90 police services across Canada that are involved in implementing the program, and we're in every province, every territory. The RCMP launched it, and believe it or not, we've shared this with the United States, all their federal agencies, the United States Veterans Affairs, and the Department of Veterans Affairs of Australia formally requested that the Australian Federal Police do this program. So
Wow.
it's been a lot of fun. We've been in the weeds of this since 2019, and we have a big team, and it's been a lot of fun to do this. It's been a passion project.
Well, it's so important. And again, I don't think, unless you've been involved with people in crisis, to understand really what it's, to have the tools available and make it simple to get people what they need. That's huge.
It's very popular because it follows a little bit of the one government approach. So police are they're perfect conduits to connecting a person in crisis to the social supports. So police aren't giving the social supports, police are just connecting people. And we do that through building a good rapport, providing empathy to their situation, defusing and de-escalating everything. And then once we have a bit of rapport and a bit of influence, it's how do we get this person help to improve public safety and have no more 911 calls for that person.
So let's say, not a police officer comes across someone that's in crisis, or someone that they may believe could be a veteran. Is there something that the general public can do to help?
The best thing the general public can do is be there to support the other people in the general public. So if you see somebody that's struggling and you build a rapport and a connection with them, you can help direct them into support and into help. But if you're not able to do that, the best thing you can do is call a police officer to aid in de-escalation and aid in that crisis scenario. And then as soon as a police officer understands through the training and through talking to people in the public that this person actually is a military veteran, they're entitled to so much more and so many more services because of the service they had to their country. And we're able to do this not even for Canadian veterans, but also international veterans.
Wow.
In a lot of cases that are actually living in Canada. We'll either connect them to their home country's supports, or there's some cases where Canada will support these veterans as well.
So in many cases, it's people who are entitled to support that don't know that they're entitled, or just don't know where to get the help. So they're sort of on their own.
Yeah, like when I left the military, I didn't think I deserved help, and I didn't think I needed it until my peers and my friends and my family and my wife, they were like, okay, you need to get some help. And other than that, I wouldn't have gotten help. I would have just kept on pushing through. And you find that a lot with the military community, because when you think of like a combat scenario where you twist your ankle or you get an ache and pain or a bruise. The training teaches you to fight through those things. And unfortunately, the military population will apply the whole idea of fighting through the pain into their personal lives and into their mental health in scenarios that aren't combat related, just because that's the way they were trained. But with the training that's provided and with the interaction a police officer has with that veteran, they can break down those stereotypes and those mental health stigmas so that the veteran can actually realize that, yes, you do need to ask for help sometimes and you do need to receive the help. But
And it's okay. It's okay to do that.
It's very okay, but it's very challenging because it's hard to ask for help when you're sick, and sometimes you want to just push through. But the training teaches that, and we can all do that as good citizens when we see a military veteran that might be struggling. We can have those conversations with them. And just remind them that thank you for what you did for the country, and now let's make sure you get the help you're entitled to.
Now, aside from the amazing work you're doing, you've had some amazing help and partnerships. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, so this, when I say it's a nationally based community policing initiative, it's because I had help from everybody. Both me and Jeremy sitting here trying to quarterback this whole initiative would never be possible with 2 police constables. So we had help from every layer of Toronto Police, from my direct staff sergeant when I had a few weeks on the job, when I was asking him about the problem, to being in front of my unit commander the next week, to all the way up to the chief, where we sold and explained our idea and our passion, and we helped get help from everybody. So we got help from Veterans Affairs Canada, the Royal Canadian Legion, and OSIS. We got a lot of help from Dr. Peter Collins, a forensic psychiatrist, to write all the de-escalation aspects. My wife, actually, Genevieve, she helped write all the mental health training. So that way we had a doctor that's a clinical psychologist explain the mental health aspects of a suffering military veteran. And the whole reason behind that, though, is so a police officer can better de-escalate, because you can better de-escalate if you can put yourself in the person's shoes, understand what they're going through, and then it's easier for you to provide empathy and can establish a connection so you can actually help the person. So we got a lot of help there. And my little sister, actually, she's a defense scientist for Department of National Defense. So she's got her PhD in performance measurements. So she took the entire program, provided a structural framework, a logic model, and a performance measurement so I could academically say this is what the program is. And then our supervisors and our decision makers can look at our structural framework, look at the logic model, and they can make correlations to how we're set up in the program and to how we logically get to our end results. And now we actually have a way to measure it. So it's essentially the science that backs the program. And those are kind of the key authors. But ever since then, we've had so much help from so many different people, like from the veteran community, across Canada, the international community, and police officers all throughout the Toronto, and throughout Canada, actually, because the closest population to a military veteran population is really a policing population. So a lot of police officers do the training, and they find some connections and some common ground between what a military veteran might go through after a tour versus how a police officer might be feeling after maybe a challenging call or a challenging few years. So, yeah, this by no means could have been done by just 2 people. We also tried to make the training exciting. So CPCAN, the Canadian Police Knowledge Network, we've done a lot of training, and we're usually doing the training at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, when there's no calls on the board and you have a couple minutes to do the mandatory training. So we said, oh my goodness, we need to make this training exciting so people learn it and so people remember it. So me and Jeremy really sat back and we asked ourselves, like, what's the coolest thing that we could put in this training that helped us? Because if it helped us, I'm sure it can help other people. So we reached out to Jocko Willinks. We got intellectual property rights to use one of his videos into the training. We reached out to the David Lynch Foundation. We got videos from them, from the military, from TED Talks. And I cold called on LinkedIn, actually, the Five Finger Death Punch Band.
Right on.
One of the biggest rock bands. If you don't know, they're amazing. But they essentially let us use the music video Wrong Side of Heaven. So I think we're like the first online training program on CPCAN to have a full rock video on it.
Probably.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of support from every level of Toronto Police, and it's been really good because one of the things I like to say in like from my previous like military experience when it comes to like going through a building, let's say, one of my commanders said, "Hey, just keep charging forward. You know what to do. Just keep charging forward. Just back brief me what's going on, and I'll keep directing you. But keep on charging." And I've kind of applied that to life in Toronto. And I said that to one of our senior officers, and she was like, "You keep on charging. Back brief us what's happening. We'll protect you and we'll help guide you. But keep doing it." And it's been a blessing from the command of Toronto Police to actually be able to run with this and actually like run with a passion project.
It's truly amazing, and the Toronto Police has been so good about supporting members in this way, supporting you in this project. And similarly, how about the way they support me and what we do here at Traffic Services? So it's great when you have good managers in a supportive organization. It makes all the difference between make or break, right? But I love the fact that it's become this enormous deal. I mean, it's a big deal, but it's taken a life of its own, right?
It's been we're starting to have champions across different police services. We've successfully referred about 65 military veterans in the city of Toronto that were in crisis that needed help. Across Canada, we're in the 200s, so we're definitely making a difference and making an impact.
After you refer to them, do you refer them to the program? Are you circling back? Do you maintain connection? Are they part of the family now?
So that's the beauty about this program. So what we did was we provided the training and the referral mechanism, and every police service can build upon that. And we always tell police services to leverage local services. So the program directly refers to Veterans Affairs, Legion, OSIS, but those are all federal services. But through the training, we also tell each service to also leverage your local services. And other services have also built a mechanism where they can go and revisit the person and revisit the veteran, and they have it built into, I think, the 1 month, 3 month, and 1 year portion.
Nice.
Waterloo's been incredible for that, and they took that. And I think they have a lot. I think they actually have more referrals than us right now. They're doing really, really good.
But it's not a race.
It's not a race.
We're not competing. There's no free toaster. But having that you came into the police service, transitioning from the military, never planning on any of this.
No.
What do you think the most meaningful? What? I mean, there's so much good, but what's the biggest or the most impactful thing that you would relate to?
Leaving the military was very hard for me because I was in CSOR, the Canadian Special Operations Regiment. I was an operator, and my whole platoon was going to Iraq, and I was coming to Toronto Police, and so I felt like a lot of disconnect from not doing that, and I started, and it took me a while to find my passion and what was going to motivate me, like being an operator did. And I feel like this program's actually helped save my life because it gave me like a perfect platform to give back and to really like get into and dive headfirst into. So I think this program's helped me a lot, to be quite honest with you.
It's funny because, it's not appropriate really to compare, because what you have done and served and been part of is so much bigger than what I have.
Oh, that's not a competition.
No, but like for me, I came off a motorcycle collision being a motor squad officer, and I ended up doing behind the scenes stuff, and I wasn't feeling like a cop anymore. And creating the podcast and live stream and social media interaction really allowed me to contribute in a way that was meaningful. And I've come to realize that what I do online it has more impact than I ever did as a cop stopping one person at a time on the street. And there's where I get to flip it back. What you're doing now and helping people in a totally different way, because there's police where people helping people, but you are helping people who need it, who need it in such a special and unique way and deserve it. So I'm so. Is it weird to say I'm proud of you? Like, it's so amazing that you've done this incredible thing.
Thank you. That means a lot. But we were just saying a second ago, like, we didn't do this with two people. Like, I've been here now for almost 2 hours, and we've been filming for like 5 minutes at this point. But you literally helped piece together a lot of my future goals for this program, because you're helping me with your lessons learned, so this program can be better. And yeah, it's amazing because it really is a team effort, and thank you as well.
It's my pleasure. My whole goal is to help. we talk about the public and helping the public and answering questions, but my goal is to help police be better communicators and as I said, self-safety, try to really build that communication. So if I can help the wellness unit, the military veterans wellness unit, I'm not saying that properly, but
military veterans wellness
program,
yeah.
not unit, program. But if I can help you do something better, then you got me 100%.
It's funny, like right when I first started with policing, I never realized how good like a good talker can be when it comes to de-escalation and public safety. Like when you see a person give the aggressor their handcuffs and say, put the handcuffs on and go sit in my car. And it just blows your mind how good of a talker a person can be and how you can de-escalate so well with good training and with good mentorship. And I think we're both aligned on how good and how important that can be. And that's what I'm trying to do. Like at the end of the day, no one wants to see a military veteran in handcuffs. What we want to see is a military veteran get the help they may or may not need, because a lot of military veterans transition from the military and they're super successful and they do really, really well. But a couple of people have some traumas that they need assistance with. And if we can do that and help these people get back to being super good members of society and live an amazing life, we owe that to them, because without the work people do overseas, Canada would be a very different place. And that goes way back in through our history.
It's to prevent suffering. And people who are suffering in silence need that extra, hand to be reached out.
It's awful. Like the military creates body armor and it has helmets and bulletproof vests, and we lost a lot of people in Afghanistan and Iraq, but we've actually lost way more to suicide. And for these people, the war's not over yet. They're still dealing with the demons and the results of their service and their experience, but we can't forget these people. And as police, we need to really make sure we help divert people away from crime and get them the help they need so there's not a second 911 call, and so public safety is improved. And we owe it to our veterans. I like to say, like, protect the protectors.
I like that.
Yeah.
If people watching this want to help your program in some way, is there a mechanism that the public can, not just helping the person on the street, but helping the program? Is there, can they buy T-shirts? Can they somehow contribute in any way, shape, or form? And I mean that because I know people are going to ask me, and I have to ask for them.
Okay.
Whether it be, funding. Do you fund anything? Is there a way to support?
So this is a very unique program because the program's designed for police. But the more awareness I can have about my program to police leaders and to the public and to veterans would be beneficial. So anything to do with, we talked a lot about social media impact and creating a good social media impact, good national impact, good international impact to share best practices. That'll all be beneficial. But the police is a very weird thing because we can't say, I'm the Toronto Police and I want to ask for money. So we don't do that. But what we can do is we can help build brand awareness to the Military Veterans Wellness Program and help to divert people that may be suffering into help. So our whole idea is public safety, and our whole idea is awareness, and we can build through awareness mainly through connections and through social media. So,
is there a public-facing website?
There is a public-facing website. It's on the Toronto Police website under the Community Partnerships Engagement Unit. It's the Military Veterans Wellness Program. And our social handles are military_veteran_wellness.
Okay.
And any kind of help, anybody, like programs like this, they don't really, it's a nationally based community policing initiative, but the team that we have that's helped out in this is in the 160 people range. Like everybody has a different piece of the pie that's helped out with. So both yourself and the greater masses, if you guys have any, guys and girls, if you guys have any ideas to how to make this better and how we can help and how the police can do a better job at helping suffering veterans in any way, please email and reach out to us, and we'll have our links and emails at the bottom of the podcast.
Yeah.
But this is really a team work. This is all based around teamwork, and that's what community policing really is.
So first off, if you're watching this and you know somebody that would benefit from knowing about this, share this podcast episode with them. That would be a huge help. Because within this podcast, you're going to be able to share the contact information so that more people can become aware of the program. And then if you know of an individual needing help, you can contact the police to get a referral, to get them the help they need, because you may not be in a position to approach it. Right?
Yeah, so our partnerships go way beyond Toronto, though. Like we're in partnership with an organization called Media Twist, and they're actually helping to amplify our message across Canada and the United States. And they're essentially taking their skills at selling out concerts and selling out shows and applying that to selling out an idea of public safety, an idea of military wellness, an idea of every cop needs cultural competency, de-escalation training about the veteran population. And then they needed a way to connect that veteran to the supports that save their lives. Like in the United States, the majority of veterans that actually die by suicide aren't connected to the services. So how can I, as a police officer, connect a person to those services so they don't choose that dark way out?
Yeah. So we need everyone to come together as a community and share and educate. And that's what you guys are. You're putting those puzzle pieces together and making them available, and I love it.
Thank you.
Share the podcast, and if you come across someone in need, notify people who can help. And those people happen to be police, especially if they're involved with this program. And if your local police service isn't involved with this program, let them know that they can contact
please.
and reach out and get involved with the program. So awesome stuff. Thank you for coming in and spending time. And I look forward to helping and working together on this going forward.
Yeah, I feel like we have a lot more conversations to do because the things you're doing is amazing. And like I explained, I can learn a lot from you, I'm sure, to help amplify this message. And thank you for everything.
Pleasure. Awesome. We'll talk to you soon.